Welcome back, Exiles. Scuffed Havoc 616 here. I'm going to keep saying that. AKA Ziggy D. Welcome back. We're moving on to
You
the
didn't even
next.
say it today.
I
This was
didn't
the
say it
first
today?
time. You're doing
Oh,
great.
okay.
No.
Oh, well, there you go. Welcome back. Taking over Havoc's stream to host the community races. They've been very fun so far. We had an excellently entertaining first round of the semifinals, and the second one is going to be Ventrua and DeadandDoom versus Guccipradas and Stupid Fat Hobbit. A match with a lot of backstory. We're just moving into picks and bans right now. Rise, is it heads or tails?
It's
My man.
heads.
It's heads once again, and Gucci knows this. You're too predictable, mate. So Gucci is going to be Gucci and SFHobbit are going to be team 1, and they are banning right off the bat. They are ready to go. Freezing Pulse is the first ban.
Okay, very interesting. Definitely trying to deny some of that early game for the Shadows. I think maybe these freezing pools might just be followed up with a Frostbomb ban too. We'll be seeing.
Well, you are not correct. It is going to be Arc is the next ban.
Oh no, I meant from Team Gucci, but the next ban after that, I still was incorrect. The next ban is actually Contagion. Wow.
Contagion, yes. Contagion is going to be the third ban. Very interesting set of, like, these are all usable skills, so these aren't throwaway bans. But the last little interview just before was saying Arc's not very good, though Havoc did look pretty good with the Arc. And then the final ban is going to be Freeze Mine. So probably a throwaway ban there for the final one.
Team just trying not to limit themselves.
We'll find out what the picks are, because that's where things get a little bit more serious for the players, I think. So, I don't know, like, these aren't all throwaway bans, but I think mostly people are going to get to play what they want here, depending on how the picks play out. It looks like Rain of Arrows for Stupid Fat Hobbit.
Okay. That's a respectable choice. We've seen a lot of Rain of Arrows, and Garatha has definitely shown how Ranger can potentially still be one of the stronger racing classes with his Rain of Arrows gameplay in the previous race.
Proving to be a solid choice for sure. It looks like DeadandDoom is going to be playing Blade Vortex, a very solid choice for this race. We saw that as an early ban last race. And Ventrua is going to be playing Ground Slam, and Gucci is going to be
following up with the Sunder.
A classic choice.
Yeah, that's interesting. Again, we see the choice from the double pick being Grand Slam as opposite to Sunder. Very interesting how that ended up being, but Gucci instantly pounces on it, picks Sunder for their team. Ooh, this is definitely an interesting pick. So again, we've got Guccipradas with Sunder, Stupid Fat Hobbit with the Rain of Arrows, which generally would be, I would imagine, one of the better ways of progressing. And then the other team, DeadandDoom on Blade Vortex, without the possibility of using anything like Freeze Pulse early on, but everybody having full access to movement abilities. And Ventrua with Grand Slam. Yeah, having to use that from the very beginning. And again, he's pretty much going to be ending up in a similar situation to Zizarin from the previous race. We'll see what sort of adjustments they're going to be making to maybe not run into the same issues as Team Havoc and Ziz has. It's definitely going to be difficult here to align everything up correctly with those levels and the health points, as Zizarin did have a little bit of problems with that.
What do you think we're going to see in the early game then, since apart from Ground Slam, these are all slightly later picks?
Excuse me? Sorry?
What do you think we're going to be seeing in the early game, as there are early game skill choices then, since these are all slightly later picks, except for Ground Slam?
Right. This is kind of tricky. I think probably Shrapnel Shell primarily from Hobbit is going to be the pick. Gucci is limited to primarily either Cleave or Frostblades, as Ventrua is the player ending up with the Grand Slam. which is also very interesting. But considering Gucci did pick Sunder after the Ventrua Grand Slam pick, it does seem like he's quite confident in his early play. So that pretty much leaves DeadandDoom, who can't use Freeze Pulse and can't use Contagion, which means that he pretty much has to Explosive Trap. With those physical nodes, as Explosive Trap is a physical ability that converts half of its damage to fire, but that's not something necessarily you have to worry about. And he can still use the Frost Bomb. So we're going to be seeing if he's going to be focusing his skill tree more on those elemental early nodes and just a quicker progression with Frost Bomb, or if he's going to let Ventrua progress through Act 1, leaving him with a weaker setup, and instead focusing on physical nodes to just have a more powerful single target for Izaro, eventually once he gets his Blade Vortex fully up and running.
It's interesting that Ventrua picked Ground Slam over Sunder when he had the opportunity to pick Sunder first. Why do you think that is, the preference for Ground Slam?
I do know that Ventrua isn't particularly comfortable with Cleave anymore. He is definitely one of the top melee players, but for the longest time he's been practicing Ground Slam. He was one of the first players to really put a lot of effort into Ground Slam, and at this point he has been seen mentioning a couple times that it's gotten to a point where he can't even play Cleave. So there's just a possibility that he thought that maybe in some sort of way he would be limited to be playing Cleave, and he was just not looking forward to that, with Gucci selecting Ground Slam and Ventrua selecting Sunder instead, which would again lock him into Cleave or Frostblades, neither of which abilities he's particularly confident in.
All of the players are on the starting line now and ready to go, though Stupid Fat Hobbits facing in the wrong direction, which when you're starting a race is not the direction you want to be facing. Usually you want to be facing the way that you're going to run, not out to ocean. He's ready to go for a swim, but does correct
trickery here.
A little bit
RNG manipulation.
Yes, I think so. Definitely some more RNG manipulation.
Also against the rules, so fortunately he does log out and log back in.
Even if he's in the same spot facing the opposite direction is highly against the rules, because that level of RNG manipulation is not allowed.
Absolutely not.
So we have blue team versus white team, it looks like. DeadandDoom and Ventrua versus Guccipradas and Stupid Fat Hobbit. Team 1 on the left and team 2 on the right there.
Absolutely. So with 1 minute and 30 seconds to go, as DeadandDoom's timer is counting down, DeadandDoom again on the Shadow, Guccipradas on the Duelist, Ventrua on the Duelist also, and Stupid Fat Hobbit with Team Gucci on the Ranger. So we're probably not going to be seeing any Duelist bow strategies from this race. Instead, Hobbit opting to go for that Ranger, as did Garatha.
Yes, this should be a nice fast race. Everyone has the move skills they want access to as well. There's been no move skill bans at all.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is something that I believe Waggle did mention, that he was a little bit salty that in the previous race, because these players did race previously with DeadandDoom and Ventrua coming out on top, and Guccipradas and Stupid Fat Hobbit making it all the way through the losers bracket back into the semis. Yeah, last time they did not ban any movement abilities either, and Waggle was a little bit salty about it. He was like, oh, I hope to see some interesting picks this time around rather than what they did previously.
Yeah, I feel like we still had some rather friendly bans and picks happen in this race set, and everyone seemed to get what they wanted.
Oh yeah, I think so too. But, I mean, this is not a scenario that whichever team wins will have when meeting Waggle and Garatha in the finals.
And we are off with a slight delay on the right-hand side there, but close enough. And DeadandDoom Ventrua taking an early lead.
Absolutely. Well, these sort of seconds, it might not seem like much, but it might make a pretty major difference in the long run.
We do, of course, go off the actual timers and the start time of the races, but still the visual advantage is not to be understated, because it can help you get the crowd on your side.
Absolutely so. And in general, I mean, if they're getting called out that the other team is in the lead,
Ooh,
that's a pretty
yep.
big deal. Maybe it might work in some negative ways mentally. Just might affect them.
Looks like no one got anything particularly notable from Hillock. I think the best thing I saw drop was a rustic stash, so everyone's just going to be vendoring and grabbing some extra scrolls here. Needing plenty of scrolls and needing plenty of portal scrolls for this race as well, since they're going to be doing so much teleporting shenanigans. And people are going to be looking for some of the early starting items, either iron rings or an extra socketed item, maybe a particular 3-link they're looking for.
Very much so. There are some boots on both Hobbits and Gucci's vision here. It does seem like he has movement speed boots. He's running slightly faster than the average ranger does, as he's trying to not run into any dead ends. And also with Ventrua picking up a 3-link in his offhand scepter, something that he can utilize to his great advantage when ground slamming away. And like mentioned before, Gucci is locked into that cleave. Hopefully he feels a little bit more comfortable with it than Ventrua, who has been expressing his distaste for cleave very frequently in the recent days.
Yeah, the stronger early game for Ground Slam has been very notable over the races we've seen in the past. And particularly Hellrate Cleave is a sketchy affair, which we're seeing Gucci head to right now.
This is really the determining factor here. How fast can you do this fight with a bunch of blue mobs spawning along the way for Gucci? This might be a little bit scary here. More than usual. But it does seem also that DeadandDoom, utilizing that Frost Bomb, has split up with Ventrua. We'll be seeing if there's going to be some TPing going on. Oh, and Gucci pulls a perfect pull. And
Yeah,
his double striking his Hellrig down with no problems.
Grabs an extra pair of rare boots there as well. We'll have to see if those roll any move speed. Stupefat Hobbit's trying to shrapnel shot a few of the packs away so that he can get started on his Hellrate kill as well.
Yeah, unfortunately, Stupefat Hobbit gets the Nightmare. Typically, whenever you see a blue pack, you're happy about it, but a blue pack on Hellrate just might mean the death of your character and a 1-minute penalty for the entirety of your team, which I'm sure your teammate wouldn't be happy about.
Yeah, I think this, no, it could cause some early infighting and bickering if you're getting 1-minute penalties for your team very early on. I think this is going to be a pretty close race as well, so 1 minute could make the difference.
Absolutely. So, oh, Gucci! Okay, he lives. Maybe?
He's couple champ rowers okay there.
Yeah, that was very close. That was like single-digit HP, but he pulls through, all calculated. Why die when you can just not instead? Definitely, Gucci takes it to heart, pulls through, makes it over all the way to all the glyphs, and is now entering Submerged as the first player to do so, I believe.
I think we saw
the first player with the furthest progression.
Yes.
Let's just say. With DeadandDoom having submerged but still vendoring around and buying all the right items in town.
Ventrua second to head into Submerge for some actual progression.
Absolutely so. Ventrua has a nice Essence mob there. Hopefully he gets something good. Well, hopefully for Team Dead and Ventrua, and hopefully not for Team Gucci Hobbit.
Looks like Hobbit did indeed get some nice move speed boots with additional fire resistance. Very nice. He'll probably be using those all race long. I imagine so.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. So those movement speed boots on any sort of class that involves as much running as a ranger or a shadow possibly can make all the difference, honestly.
Yeah, the early move speed boots is certainly a big deal. Getting as much advantage out of that as possible. The fire resist could come into play for the Izaro kill as well. With those fireballs, we definitely saw shrekking some players last race.
Oh yeah, absolutely so. Well, we probably are getting a little bit of frustration from Guccipradas, who does have that rare pair of boots in his inventory and a blue pair of boots in his inventory that he is unable to ID, because he did need to pick up the portal scroll to be able to TP Brutus, which is indicative that he is the runner for the initial portion of Act 1. for his team.
Yeah,
I think a
scrolls of
solid choice overall.
Yeah, scrolls of identification are a bit of a luxury, and needing to trade those into portal scrolls, definitely so.
All players in red ledge, with Hobbit being the last one to enter, but like mentioned before, he will be the player who will be gathering up XP rather than progressing. And from the looks of it, this is mostly a situation of Gucci versus DeadandDoom, and who's going to be the player who reaches Brutus faster. Even if he is a little bit under level, that still pays off because his teammate, who will be getting enough levels, can always come in and replace him and just try to do the progression separately.
Yeah,
Gucci
we'll
does
probably see a
ID the
bit of.
boots.
Did you see if they had move speed?
Oof. This
Not
is
sure.
looking like movement speed to be. This looks like a little bit of movement speed in my eyes. I didn't quite see the boots, but from the movement of the character, I think that's a movement speed.
Yeah, it's a very dandy-looking duelist run there. Looks like potentially some movement speed action.
Yeah, it always adds a little bit of fabulousness to his pounds, and that does seem to
Indeed.
be looking like it. So both people from a team Gucci Hobbit have movement speed boots, which definitely absolutely is going to help out. And I mean, if anything, I think most people would be betting on DeadandDoom and Ventrua, two of the top players here that have had very consistent results. Some even mentioning that it should be against the rules for them to be playing together. So Gucci and Hobbit need to really put on their big boy pants here and try to get through this as fast as possible.
Or big boy boots, as the case may be.
Ah, I get it.
Yes, those move speed boots
Absolutely.
might be the advantage they need to secure a nice victory against DeadandDoom and Ventrua here. I'm looking forward to a highly competitive race, and I think Gucci and Hobbit have the chops to take them down. Would make for a very interesting grand finale if so as well.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a repeat of the previous race where it was more of a brute force from Garatha and Waggle, brute force and experience versus the strategy and cunning of Zizaran and Havok. And unfortunately, Ziz and Havok did come out on the wrong end of that. So we'll be seeing if DeadandDoom's and Ventura's brute force can still overcome Gucci Hobbit.
I'm surprised we haven't seen any Quicksilver trading around yet. Everyone's still rocking their own individual Quicksilver. Players all kind of opting to do their separate runs pretty much all the way up to Brutus from the looks of things, though Ventrua and Hobbit taking a little bit more time to XP.
Yes, absolutely so. It's a little bit surprising that maybe in their practice runs they just noticed that the other player couldn't quite keep up with experience and instead they chose to go for this. Maybe they're planning for the supporting player, the not running player, to take over as they should be higher level than the runner and therefore having access to movement skills earlier and making it over to Merville faster. But we won't really know until we see that Brutus kill and possibly how much time people are even going to be spending in town vendoring and moving around their gear and currency.
Hobbit opting to pass up a huge pack of champion goats at the Navali kill there. But yeah, interesting considering Hobbit looks like he's XPing, but maybe wasn't confident he could get those kills before the goat leap slammed down. But he's actually heading into prison himself as well, so it looks like if they're XPing, they're planning on XPing in prison. They're definitely not trying to beat their companion to Brutus, because they're well behind for that. Maybe hitting up those trials and teleporting their friends in. Maybe that's their plan, is to like keep up, run the trial, and then bring their ally in after or before the Brutus fight. Because that could sync up pretty nicely here.
That's a fantastic idea. I mean, Gucci's a little bit ahead. I mean, honestly, they're both neck and neck. With Ventrua and Hobbit are right next to each other, and DeadandDoom and Guccipradas both in warding quarters at 10 minutes and 10 seconds, I would like to point out, which is an incredibly impressive time. Honestly, both DeadandDoom and Guccipradas for the longest time have been getting the Brutus kill world records, only taking it from each other back and forth. So to see them so close, truly magnificent display of skill.
Gucci starts his oh Brutus fight just before, goes very low to a pair of punches from Brutus and takes another one. He's not healed up enough. Gucci, you probably need to dance back. Oh, just Gucci knows. Gucci likes, he's happy to ride this right on the line there. Wow.
He knows what he's doing.
And goes down.
Until he doesn't.
Apparently not. Apparently not. Wow. Pushing things too far against Brutus there. Brutus claims his first kill of the day. And DeadandDoom gets the kill like much faster in the meantime. Gucci just not able to do it. Taking things too risky. Wow. It's a bit of an upset at the start here. +1 minute to their penalty to their time. Ouch.
Yeah, with that penalty, that might play a huge role. So far, they've been incredibly close with even the Brutus DPS being pretty much even. I mean, they're absolutely on the same sort of pace. But with that death, they've got a full minute to make up for it. Gucci didn't quite have the patience to just mess around with Brutus and allow Hobbit. But that's part of this race. Really resting on the shoulders of. Okay, I have no idea what I'm saying. What?
You got this.
Wait, what is it? Resting on the shoulders, having faith in your team, having faith in your teammate. Okay, that's what it's all about. Oh! Hobbit dies.
What?
Yeah, almost. But he didn't.
Almost.
He chose not to.
Okay. Well, I was too distracted by what you were trying to figure out what you were trying to say.
I like how I was banking on you to help me out, and you're just like, yes, yes, keep going. Please tell me more.
I wanted to see where that went. I think what I got from that was we're creating a bank based on people's shoulder width. That's basically what I got out
of that. With faith and a belief, yes, exactly. Metal
so
is
it's more of a religion, really, than a bank.
Yep. No, that's exactly what we have to do here. This sort of trust has to be established through only religious means. We do have DeadandDoom reaching Ship Graveyard before Ventrua, however, and he chooses to take a step back and continues to farm. And I don't know if that's not going to bite them eventually. It seems like they're sticking to their plan, but maybe that small adjustment with allowing DeadandDoom to keep progressing towards Mervo would have made up a lot more time for them.
I mean, he's half a level behind here, so I guess the idea is to really keep that XP balanced and to not, you know, get carried away and fall behind. But I get what you're saying. If you're in the lead, you might as well be the runner, right? And he has the 2 Quicksilvers too. But that was an extra drop, so lucky with that one.
Oh yeah, I didn't even catch that. Absolutely, the second Quicksilver. I don't know. DeadandDoom has frequently stated that he thinks the Shadow is much more powerful. So yeah, I do think what we discussed earlier, the over leveling comes into play as Ventrua did have enough time to get enough levels and even get on over to the trial. And at this point, he is level 10, and he's leap slamming away, going at huge speeds. And DeadandDoom just now also reaching 10, but slightly behind. So definitely sticking to the plan in the end worked out for them.
Thankfully for Gucci, no XP penalties on death at this point in the game. Just that 1 minute penalty, which is going to be big with how close these guys are. I feel like that 1 minute could be pretty big.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely so, especially since Gucci did fall a little bit behind here. He has to be picking up the trial now, but he is almost a full zone behind. We'll be seeing. I'm not exactly sure if Ventrua end up running the trial or not. DeadandDoom picked it up. That being said, also Ventrua sucking up a little bit of that nice progression RNG from DeadandDoom, picking up the acceleration shrine. It's pretty close to the exit, but still, that's quite useful.
Yeah, I feel like if you grab it at that point, you like kill a couple of extra packs, but I guess he doesn't want to throw away that just extra progression speed, that raw progression speed as the runner here. Ooh, was going to try and make a leap slam shortcut, but realizing it's a little bit too far to jump. It would suck to be racing and to be falling into a deep abyss. That would not be where you want to end up.
Oh yeah, that's definitely not a good plan. Falling into an abyss. No. That's a no-no. That's more than a 1 minute penalty for sure.
Yeah, I think so. It might be a race ender right there. Gucci also getting a shrine, unfortunately just an Ice Nova shrine, but maybe we'll slow down some monsters. Gets a Haku as well, lucky boy.
Yeah, lucky or unlucky, we'll be seeing. His layout was quite alright, and he is leaping away. DeadandDoom is running the trails, so... Oh, Ventrua hitting the corrupted zone.
Ooh. Is that
Oh, that's
a full dead end? Ooh.
That's a big corrupted zone. He has a lot of ground to make up here. Honestly, I would say that this is pretty even right now because Ventrua is still yet to pick up the trial. If Gucci can make it fast enough to Mervo, both teams are looking at a pretty amazing Mervo time.
Ventrua, of course, starting off their Merveil kill. DeadandDoom ready to go. Joins. And we'll probably be leaving again briefly for the second phase to one-player target. First phase goes down very quickly to the combined damage of DeadandDoom and Ventrua. And looks
okay,
like
I was going to say that it didn't quite look like they got the one-player tag. Never mind. DeadandDoom almost kills Mervo instantly.
Almost one-shots her. Has to wait for his companion to get back in.
Does he have a +1 weapon, possibly? That was a tremendous amount of damage.
He does not. No, I don't know where he's getting that damage from. Just excellent explosive traps. Maybe 10 explosive trap crits in a row, possibly.
It did sort of seem like that. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised from DeadandDoom's previous performances. He does have those triple Quicksilvers now, as Ventrua goes, I don't need that. I don't need any of it. And probably one of the Quicksilvers is going to be utilized for a recipe that grants you movement speed on boots eventually, sometime in the near future.
Yeah, DeadandDoom does not have move speed boots right now, just rocking some rare resist boots. So we see a unique plank kite shield for Gucci.
Nobody picked it up.
Not pick it up. Nobody picks it up. They don't want to touch it.
Wow. Nah, I don't know about this one. That was a risky play, at least for the alteration shards. Hello.
I mean, he still had space in his inventory. I feel like that was just a power play, not picking it up. It's just like flexing on vendor tier uniques.
Yeah, we might see some spam coming in from Guccipradas. He's known for his slide BM. Soon he's going to be messaging DeadandDoom with, I didn't even pick up that plank shield. And DeadandDoom getting tilted because he was looking forward to picking up a plank shield, but he doesn't get one at all. Maybe later, but so far, no RNG for DeadandDoom other than 10 critical strikes in a row on Mervo.
With DeadandDoom's chronic bad RNG that he has to put up with, he will willingly pick up a Spring Leaf if it drops, taking advantage of any small positive RNG he can get, because it just never happens to him. So, yeah.
Absolutely. That's what happens with most players. If you do have overall rather bad RNG, and then eventually you have the real run, and you have really good RNG, sometimes you're simply overwhelmed with the amount of RNG. You're not quite experienced with controlling that sort of RNG and fully using it to your advantage. But DeadandDoom, his runs always look the same, so he doesn't have that problem at all.
Consistent.
He has that consistency going for him. Absolutely.
It's those step counts. I was telling you about it yesterday. It's counting the steps. That's what it all comes down to.
Very much so, yes. And Hobbit running Riverways, allowing Gucci to run the lower level zones of Sins. We'll be seeing if they can line everything up correctly. DeadandDoom already using Blade Vortex. It seems to be working out pretty great for him so far. No, he did go for the elemental node strategy, which will leave him a little bit weaker now. He's no longer using Frost Bomb. He is unable to one-shot mobs. He does not have a +1, which means that if he just would have let Ventrua possibly do a little bit more progression, he could have saved those 5 elemental nodes in Act 1, not sacrifice too much time, and instead have a much safer Izaro. But instead, he did opt to pick up the elemental nodes, which for the most part, at least 3 of them aren't going to be particularly useful here.
I think he's planning for a Homesara drop. He's looking to get that elemental conversion for his Blade Vortex setup happening. And
well, he did just drop
a pair of unique gloves. Not Homesara, though. Looks like those guys are Ondot's Clasp, I believe.
Yeah, those are the 20 attack speed
Yeah, those are pretty big.
unique
He's probably going to be
gloves.
passing those off to his buddy Ventrua. He's like, hey, I'm willing to share a little bit of my positive RNG here. Damn.
I'm tired of this at this point. We had such a close match here, and this just might get really problematic. If Ventura is able to leap slam at what essentially will be double speed with
Light
these
speed.
20%
Yeah.
attack speed gloves, I don't know. It's going to play a pretty major role also on the Izaro kill himself, as he will be essentially using multi-strike, which is completely illegal in this format.
That is a, yeah, it's a brutal advantage that Ventura is going to be gaining on his leap slamming action. Got to be a little bit happy with that. DeadandDoom probably shares with Ventura the news is like, hey, I got a present for you. You're going to like this one. They have joined for the
and then the immediate reaction coming in from Ventura, DeadandDoom never lucky, baby rage, always bad RNG. I think it was to be expected.
Just fortunate no leap slam bans. Maybe the other team wishing that some leap slam bans had been happening now to equalize things out a little bit, but unfortunately not for them. But at least no one is going to be going frost. What is it? Freeze mine.
Freeze mine.
Freeze mine has been banned, so there'll be no unethical freeze mining strategies happening.
Yeah, that's definitely that. Yeah, that would be a little bit tricky. I mean, freeze mine definitely used to be one of the strongest abilities in the game. Actually, not a lot of people remember this, but that's not so much anymore. So that ban was just a comfort ban for everybody. But at this point, I can't help but think that Guccipradas and Hobbit are thinking, "Wow, you know what? Take into account."
I don't know if I'm being debated by chat again, but did DeadandDoom sell the Ondar's clasps?
I mean, that would be the honorable thing to do. But DeadandDoom isn't known for his honor. He's known for his 15-year-old wits. Did he really vendor it?
Ventrua is currently wearing a pair of white iron gauntlets. Is DeadandDoom just that selfish? He's like, no, I want the alteration shards for myself.
He's like, no, you're not getting these gloves. This is bull. Honestly, I can absolutely imagine Ventura just going, no, I don't want this.
Too
it's
unethical.
Too much.
They want to prove that they can win without them. Is that what happened here, or did he actually sneak them to him via like the guild stash or something?
Yeah,
I find it hard to believe you would have vended those. Those things are huge. I don't see them in Ventura's inventory.
Waggle does have a fair point that there is a possibility, because you need to be on full life to benefit from the 20% attack speed. Blood Rage is something that gets in the way of that, but even keeping those gloves for the evasion and attack speed on Izaro, where Blood Rage really doesn't do a whole lot for you, would have been useful. Maybe they didn't plan ahead. Maybe they felt like they didn't need it. Maybe they just wanted to piss everybody off. Who knows? We'll probably find out.
I think it's just an overconfidence play. That's what I think it is. Like, maybe the Blood Rage thing, but I don't know. It's still pretty useful even in that case. You're not necessarily always going to be using it. And the attack speed is pretty comparable with what you get from Blood Rage anyway. So, I think it's an overconfidence. I think it's flexing. Plank Shield flex versus the gloves flex. Yeah, they're like, I heard about your spring leaf, Gucci. How about this? Oh yeah.
I can see that now. That absolutely is a pirate play. Let's see what Guccihobbit is going to do here to outplay this absolute BM from Dead and Ventrua. As they are heading
very much looking forward to seeing that, biting them in the butt, so to speak.
Well, currently there is that 1 minute penalty for Gucci and Hobbit, and they are slightly behind. They need to be speeding up here if they want to remain in this race and get on over to the finals. You can see that Gucci is just primarily, I was going to say that he's primarily skipping content as he opens a box with blue mobs and an Ice Nova. Maybe he's looking to XP a little bit more. Hobbit's tilted, Omega Lul is what Gucci types. Huh?
I am looking at Hobbit's character right now. He does seem to be quite underleveled. He's only at level 12 right now compared to like 14
Whoa.
for Ventrua and 15 for DeadandDoom. I'm not sure what level Gucci is, but presumably a bit higher than that.
Yeah, that is the issue that I talked about before, where if you are taking the left side, you have got to make sure that at least you're exiting riverways at level 12 and a half or even 13. Seeing Hobbit at not even level 13 on Weaver means that he's been missing out on a lot of experience, and he will probably be the one to try to catch up in Act 2 as Gucci will be progressing.
He just hits 13 in time for Weaver there, but yeah, cutting things a little close there on the experience. Not sure what
Yeah,
Gucci was saying about him being tilted, but it might be due to something like that. I do notice that
yeah,
Hobbit has
possibly.
no gear on right now.
He does
Character is basically
sometime. Well,
naked.
that's the tricky part with Ranger, right? You're so
Yeah.
gear dependent, almost as gear dependent as you are with something like Frostblades. But on top of it, if you're not really getting any density and if you're struggling to level up in Riverways, that can definitely add on. So we can see that that positive mental attitude goes a long way. And it's
The
definitely hurting Team Gucci Hobo.
indeed, the feel of an undergeared ranger is just one of the worst feelings in Path of Exile, and maybe that's what Hobbit is feeling right now. He has a white bow with cold resistance, or a blue bow with cold
Mm.
resistance, no damage. He's got some iron rings. He does have those move speed boots he got early on, but really, yeah, nothing. Doesn't even have a quiver yet. Not even a hat to keep, keep the sun off.
Okay, he's tilted. He just de-equipped Onslaught to be able to equip Attic Cold, so I think he just feels like he does no damage and
He's like, I can't even
the
kill mobs
world
to
is
get
against him.
onslaught. That's probably what's
Yeah.
happening here. So I think he's feeling the real range of pain of just a bad ranger run here. He's really struggling. Guccipradas needs to maybe keep an eye out for any items he can feed to Hobbit, and maybe
Mm.
utilize a little bit of that currency. You know what? I can't help but feel like if they had picked up and vended that spring leaf, things would be a little different for them right now. A little
This
bit of
is
extra
the
currency.
god's punishment.
I think
Oh
so.
no, Gucci doing my least favorite thing in the entire game, running around with Warlord's Mark as you're trying to search for the huge zone where Oak is. Finally, he manages to hit it, but that's one of the most frustrating things. Missing Oak is so difficult, and yet it happens so frequently that whenever you do see it, just doesn't quite feel right. But on the bright side, they do get a good oak layout, which can be indicated by the entrance to the oak zone. All they have to do is head on over up or left and up through the zone and hit the ruins
Yeah, I am
after they.
surprised we
Oh.
didn't see a early Blade Vortex pick for Hobbit and Gucci, since they did have that first pick. First pick, Rain of Arrows. Like, we saw Rain
Hmm.
of Arrows be very strong in that last race, but that was with very good gear. It does seem like a riskier play. Certainly, DeadandDoom's taking advantage of the Blade Vortex action here.
I think a big part of that, yeah, they're heading the right way and they're going to be hitting Vol Ruins. But definitely the big factor here is that Hobbit is one of those players who used to race a lot, but nowadays he hasn't been racing that much. So there is a possibility that DeadandDoom and Ventrua, who is dropping low on a box, did scout out that Hobbit doesn't have a whole lot of experience in varied class play, and he's primarily a bow user. And simply, they were too afraid to get his skill removed or maybe picked by the opposite team. So they just went for it as a safe pick, as Hobbit might be the only abilities that he's able to play, or only class that he's able to play.
Yeah, it's certainly difficult to practice to get it like a decent amount of practice on enough variety of things to accommodate for
Mm.
potential different picks and bans.
Yes, very much so. And you can also see that Hobbit isn't quite confident in what exactly he should be doing. He kind of ran Alira, but he also had 2 skill points here that weren't used, and now he's running Western Forest, running into some boom boops, still messing around with his gear. It is incredibly difficult to be managing your gear if you do feel like you are behind, because most of the time, nowadays in racing, the players have gotten so mechanically good that realistically, the more you mess around with your inventory, the less you're progressing and the slower you're killing. So you really want to minimize that and just do as little inventory management as possible just to be able to kill mobs. But he's continuously doing it, and you can really see that his hamster is spinning in that wheel as he's trying to figure out what can he do to keep up with the other players and just get those levels as fast as possible.
Yeah, I think he's just really trying to get some damage here. If he gets a rare longbow drop,
Yep.
and I think he just...
That was a good plan. That was a good plan from Hobbit. Run around, kill some mobs, and drop a rare bow that possibly will be an upgrade. That was a solid. That was a solid plan.
It didn't look too amazing, though, from the looks of things. He has not yet equipped it. Looks like he just opted for the composite bow, which might... I don't even know if it had any stats on it. I'll try and get an item update. Yeah, the gear struggle is real. Yeah, no, just the white composite bow. So the rare longbow was also garbage, which is going to be a little frustrating.
I mean, either way, if it's a white composite bow, he should be equipping that one. Maybe he didn't quite recognize that he's got the wrong bow
He does have that
equipped.
on now, yeah.
Okay.
He did go for the composite. I mean, a good rare longbow could be a white composite, but yeah, I opted for the white composite because that was not a good rare longbow.
Oh wow, even to that point. Okay. So that must have just added heat onto the fire, honestly. When you do feel like you finally got a break.
Pretty sure I had that +1 bow gem stat, which is just highly desirable in all circumstances.
Yeah, that feel when you feel like you're getting a break by dropping something and then it's just absolutely worthless. That plays on it too. It's really impressive to see that Hobbit is still keeping his composure and now heading on over to the crypt to pick up the trial. Unfortunately, DeadandDoom and Ventrua are already in Ancient Pyramid. This is gonna require a whole lot of speed. The biggest thing going on for Guccipradas is the fact that Gucci is the one running, so he does have access to Leap Slam, which is simply better than a Blade Vortex Flame Dash that DeadandDoom is utilizing. But will it be enough with DeadandDoom? Oh, Gucci, you naughty boy! He picks up an Acceleration Shrine.
Ooh, caverns too, nice.
Yeah, he would have vendored it, but he can't. You can't vendor a shrine. Come on.
Oh my god. Alright, you got me with that one.
He can't flex this one, but he's trying really hard. And I mean, it's working out. Despite DeadandDoom and Ventrua being on Vol already, this shrine is definitely making up a lot of ground. Could have just not picked it up, actually.
Yes.
Oh no, there's a Katarina Gucci. Oh!
Oh, Screaming Eagle.
He got a Screaming Eagle. Well, that is probably still the best in slaw weapon. I believe they're like up to 36 physical damage, so no matter what, they're absolutely better than a cleaver. But I don't know if it's going to be better than a vendor crafted broad axe, but maybe this allows DeadandDoom and Ventrua to not be hitting level 21 and instead just going into the Izaro fight a little bit earlier with that single target damage from Ventrua.
Not to mention that supported by level 2 chance to flee on the Screaming Eagle. And I don't know what he's got linked to that right now, but it looks like it might be an Ancestral Protector, so he's going to have a scary totem to scare off any scary mobs. So,
yeah, if he is using a Chance to Bleed, which I believe looks like it, that actually might be a pretty devastating combo.
Don't think he's going to be able to take too much advantage of the Chance to Flee unless he wants to go down to a 2-link. It looks like he's Herald of Ash is linked to Chance to Flee, which I don't think works. So, unfortunately, no Chance to Flee, Herald of Ash.
I do believe that does not work. Hobbit hitting a big dead end, or rather the entrance to the next zone, so he has to do a little bit more with this trial, taking a long way around. Some RNG manipulation going on right there. He should be able to make it through here as fast as possible. Did Ventrua and DeadandDoom even run Crypt? Not exactly sure, but if they have not, then that should be a
You know, I don't recall seeing it from them, but chat is saying yeah, so we might have been distracted by, that might have been when we were a bit distracted by what Hobbit was doing.
Well, to clarify what you just said, the only person saying yes was Smelling Stang, which I'm not sure if
not the most, maybe not the most reputable source.
We do have a follow-up from A. Sakura saying, DeadandDoom ran it. Okay, A. Sakura, very respected Path of Exile community member. I do believe that they did do it, so
Smelling
that's
stank. It feels
absolutely
particularly
helpful.
picked on right now, right?
smelling, smelling stank. I don't know.
Reliable source.
Why
Oh,
you gotta
Hobbit.
remind me of my sources? Oh, Guccipradas and
A
Hobbit
jagged
dropping a
maul.
Quacholi. That's a Quacholi, but they're opting not to pick it up. If the two-handed meta would be back, that would be super duper helpful, but not in this scenario, unfortunately.
Pretty sure I picked up a white weapon instead of the Quacholi there.
I mean, honestly, considering Hobbit's RNG, I wouldn't be particularly surprised if he would have just picked it up and used it instead of his bow.
I think we've seen more uniques in this race than last race, and last race had a unique strongbox that dropped 3 other uniques. so,
Yep.
so that's
I think
something right there.
overall we've seen more uniques in this race than the entire weekend. So
I think so.
that's,
It's
that's
been
been
nutty.
working out.
We've got like
Yeah,
5
well.
uniques here.
There is a Dead and Doom involved in this race, and
Yep.
RNG can be contagious, so I think this is where it's coming from.
Both good and bad, for better and for worse.
So bad RNG from Ventrua and good from Dead and Doom. I understand what you're saying. That's why Dead and Doom vendored it, to keep it even. Or vendored the gloves.
Trying to appease the gods there with these Honda's class sacrifice, perhaps.
Mm.
I still think he's just being greedy. He wanted those extra alteration shards for himself. Not sharing with his teammates.
It would be interesting to listen to the instant replay of that gimme gimme as he vendors it. Well, works out in the end, but Hobbit is farming City of Sarn with Gucci progressing. It does look like Gucci is catching up, and I mean his mobility is through the roof. He's
Oh, yeah.
really amazing at keeping up that onslaught and those frenzy charges with Blood Rage. And obviously, straight up, Sunder's just better than Blade Vortex. It's not just about the mobility, it's also about the clear and onslaught uptime. So if Gucci can just keep this up, I believe this would give them enough time to just catch up before DeadandDoom and Ventrua enter the lab.
Man, if Gucci keeps that speed up, then Ventrura's gonna wish he took that Ondar's clasp.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, so far we still have to keep in mind that despite Gucci catching up, they are on a 1-minute penalty. So even if they do kill Izaro, first they have to do it a minute faster than DeadandDoom and Ventrua, which can be very tricky, honestly, micromanaging something like that. But I know Gucci is always very hungry for the win, and he's well aware of the situation that they're in, and he will do everything to get Hobbit out of that tilt and try and get him leveled up as fast as possible. That being said, Hobbit does go back to Northern Forest.
Yeah, I think just at this point he just needs the XP and gear. He's really struggling. He's level 15 right now, according to last check. Maybe just hitting 16.
15?
Maybe 16. But yeah, very low. Very low.
I do. Oh, very
Ooh,
low.
that's
Also
very
on
low.
HP. Wow.
Precognition from me right there with the very lows.
Well, Hobbit, you gotta give him a little bit of a break. Hobbit's already struggling enough. Don't be calling him out like that. I'm not exactly sure. I do believe that he is level 16, as probably Gucci, being an expert in level penalties, would have called him out on trying to farm in Sarin at level 15. Even level 15 in Northern Forest is only about 70% experience, if not less. Therefore, yeah, Northern Forest is definitely the better zone to be farming in. But this is basically up to Gucci at this point, with Hobbit just randomly trying to keep up. It is important that Hobbit is in exactly Act 3. Otherwise, this quest will not be fulfilled for him, and he will not be able to pick up the Tolman's Bracelet. That is very important, that Hobbit not only is behind on levels, but because he's farming in Act 2, he constantly has to go back in town to just be eligible for picking up all the quests that Gucci is completing.
Hobbit had a real tough time there with the trial as well. Tried to touch the trial, left, didn't quite touch the trial, had to go back and touch it again, all while he was trying to get into the boss fight with Gucci. It was a little bit of a debacle.
Yeah, this is tricky, and I mean, it's especially tricky because it leaves Gucci to do the majority of running here. Oh, Hobbit actually did run to the sewers entrance, which is a very good teammate. I think they're just slowly starting to bank on Gucci doing the majority of everything, and Hobbit just barely trying to keep up with levels, and then just having a better single target for Izaro with that Sunder. Ventrua having an extremely long Battlefront's loading screen finally gets in there as DeadandDoom is running Crypt, probably being slightly underleveled, but I don't think they're worried about it because of that Screaming Eagle that Ventrua has equipped previously, which should be comparable to a crafted broad axe.
Yeah, I think he's looking pretty good right about now. Level 21 for DeadandDoom, maybe just hitting 22 just a second ago perhaps. Level 20 for Ventrua, maybe about to hit 21.
Gucci just narrowly dodging those double discharges from a yellow pack, eventually deeming it too risky and moving on from them.
Yeah, get out of there, man. That was a little scary looking.
Yeah, as he was fighting one, another one ran up straight to him, and yeah, that was a little bit much. I do believe that Gucci is targeting the bus, which is a little bit interesting. Not necessarily a strategy you're going to be seeing in a Izaro speed run, but maybe they're thinking, okay, we're super underleveled. Hobbit's really struggling. Oh gosh, he even runs all the way back to the other bus. Gucci, he's really just trying to help out his friend as much as possible. Untilt him. Break his chains, Gucci.
Hobbit finally at some point managed to
What is
craft
going
his
on?
composite bow, but only got 1 to 4 damage. Ugh. He's having a real tough time with it. Currently level 17, about to hit 18, I believe. He just can't contribute to the team right now. He has to catch up on XP, or he's going to be a liability in the Izaro fight. So it's all on Gucci to do Act 3 progression right now, while Hobbit tries to catch up as best he can in Northern Forest. So he's going to be just XPing hard right now.
Exactly. So I could not have said it better. It was very interesting to see Gucci just move around as much as possible. And I mean, it's especially difficult to just have another person constantly whispering in your ear, this is bad, it's going bad, I'm messing up, oh no, oh no. And, you know, Gucci's trying to stay focused and keep on progressing here.
They gotta keep the positive chatter up. It's like, it's all right, man. You got this. I believe in you. I'll still be your friend regardless of how this goes.
Well, Gucci wouldn't want it to be a liar, so.
Oh wow.
Well, Ventrua did log out. Something happened here. I'm not sure if he picked up the dogs and then forgot. Wait a minute. Hold up. I've got a DeadandDoom to carry on my back. I gotta be leaving a portal for him. He either logged off. I think he just dropped low.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there. Well, the
He
portal is
bounced
placed.
out. Well, Ventrua is sitting on about 500 HP, which was the end game HP of every player except Ziz in the previous race, with DeadandDoom on 450. Hobbit, is that a 2? Hobbit's sitting on 310 now that he levels up to level 19. Hobbit, you're 19, time to move on to City of Sarn. It's way better experience at this point for you. And Gucci sitting on 370, so taking the Zizarin strats out, because he does have about 100 less life than the other players here.
Oh yeah, those life totals are going to be a little scary unless they can get those up before the labyrinth begins. Another unique pair of Dewedri's tenure for Hobbit right there.
Ooh. That's a bit unfortunate. That's something that Waggle would have appreciated in the previous race for his Trapper or even Havoc, but in this race, there's not much to do. Gucci does pick them up. Suddenly, he's like, oh, hold up. I gotta be picking up these uniques to flex on Deadand Ventrua. But I don't think it's gonna do a whole lot to tilt them away from the soon entrance to Izaro's Labyrinth.
I'm surprised we haven't seen the players from either team linking each other their uniques and item drops. But
Right.
both players just kind of like keeping things a little bit more subtle than that. Maybe it's a little bit too on the nose for their taste.
Possibly so. All of these players extremely classy, would never suspect them of any BM or mischief at all. Gucci does seem to have a 4 link, but I'm not sure if he has the colors or the levels to be able to equip it. It's a, I believe, red, 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 blue. So not necessarily something that he can utilize unless he can get concentrated effect, possibly from Hobbit. We're going to have to wait and see here. Drop some muttering essence of woe, but I
Also
think we're
ghosted.
looking. I think we're looking at Ventrua and DeadandDoom preparing to enter
Yeah,
the
they're getting
lab
ready.
now.
They are just about ready.
Hmm.
They're going for it. They're looking pretty good too. 500 and is that 574 HP for DeadandDoom? Holy moly, that's pretty good HP
Holy
total.
moly! Yeah, those coral rings really go a long way, which is what I'm suspecting that he's got equipped. Maybe he's gotten a leather belt on top of everything too.
I'm seeing some juicy life rolls on an amulet here, a bit on some armor, which he's opted to wear. And his resists are looking good too. He's actually using a shield with life and double res. Actually opting to use that shield here. Just like, wow, that's a lot of survivability. I'm actually going to use that. It's the move speed shield too, so no penalty for the move speed.
Yeah, I think that's understandable at this point, sacrificing a little bit of damage. He's definitely needs to be prepared to be face tanking Izaro a lot more, as he is in a much more melee situation than any of the other players in this race. He literally has to stand on top of Izaro, otherwise things just not going to work out. We do see DeadandDoom heading on over to Act 1, possibly to pick up Blind and Orb of Storms, which does seem to be the strategy, but he does not have enough intelligence. Uh-oh, DeadandDoom!
Uh-oh,
Such
anyone got a
irony.
regret? Anyone got a regret or a scouring orb, maybe? He picks up the blind anyway, but he's like, I don't know what I'm going to do about that. Is he going to go change his amulet? He's checking the vendor, but not finding what he's looking for. Checks Tarkly there, but Tarkly actually doesn't have anything for him. Just having a little quick chat to Tarkly. Didn't do him a little bit of indecision in town here. Uncharacteristic of him. He's a little bit unsure of what's going on.
Yeah, this is very important that he gets this up and running as fast as possible. He only has 1 grand and 1 medium flask. He is trading on scrolls to Ventrua, who will be picking up another flask, maybe neither one of them. Oh no, okay, Ventrua's got a large and a grand flask now too. I'm surprised, are they not going to be using the blind, or maybe possibly DeadandDoom, since he doesn't have the links for it, could drop it for Ventrua, who could use it in his protector, but Ventura's protector is 3 linked. This might be a risky run, honestly.
Yeah, I think they're going to have a tough time making use of it, unless DeadandDoom can pick up a little bit of intelligence. He did not have much luck with the vendors there. Just keeping his 28 life and amulet. Though his life pool is more than enough for Izaro, and Ventrua also looking quite sturdy at nearly 520 life. Certainly, as we saw from the last race, that's a pretty, around that 500 mark is a pretty good amount to be. But you still do want some of those other defensive layers, like the blind or a little bit of fortify action can certainly help.
Yep, absolutely. And if we were to look at the timers right now, they have entered Izaro's Labyrinth at the 49-minute mark, which is quite impressive, as the previous semi's final result was a that discharge chasing around Ventrua. Close. The previous results were 58 minutes, so they still have another solid 9 minutes to finish Izaro. And honestly, if you were to compare that time with how Gucci and Hobbit is doing, despite all the tilt, they're still also on a pretty good pace, comparably to the other team that the winner of this race will be seeing in the finals.
I'm looking forward to just seeing like another acceleration shrine here, maybe for DeadandDoom Ventrua, just to cap things off.
Just finish it off in true DeadandDoom style. I see where you're coming from, absolutely. I think at this point...
Go ahead.
I think at this point they're pretty confident either way, and they're just not even going to bother with the shrines, but we're going to have to wait and see.
Yeah, it did seem like there was a pretty accessible dark shrine after this first encounter. But yeah, they're gonna be set either way. They're looking pretty good. They're just gonna make sure they don't screw up the statues too much here, because getting an enchanted Izaro is actually a run ender potentially. That's a lot of extra damage.
Yeah, and
So
you
they're
can
getting
really
them kind of
see
low.
that even without that blind and with just the usage of the decoy totem from Ventrua, or is it from Ventrua? No, excuse me. Didn't Ventrua has dropped the decoy totem for DeadandDoom as Shadow does not get a decoy. Yeah, it's just DeadandDoom standing on top of his hour and Blade Vortexing away and
Whew,
doing it perfectly well
very good.
here because they don't get any enchants at all. Which
Yeah,
yeah works out.
they were cautious there. Like, rather than just DPSing him and finishing him off, they were like, the statues might be coming up sometime in the next few seconds. We don't want to screw this up. So they actually backed off, took the time to stand on the statues for a little bit, wait for them to come up, then deactivate him, which is definitely the safer play. Realizing that, yeah, I mean, the few seconds we could save here is not worth the potential for a death.
And great control from them too. Picking up that Dark Shrine, I do not see a buff.
No, it looks like they might be getting another treasure key, or perhaps twice enchanted, which is not exactly going to help them in the race. But a nice little bonus at the end, maybe.
Sure, finishing it off in style. One way or another, if they manage to get through this fight, do keep in mind that despite how tanky DeadandDoom is, Ventrua still has a pretty high chance of dying with that 500 HP. We did see Havoc die in the previous slice with having even more defenses than this, so it is very easy to die here.
We'll see if they opt to manage the bearers. I'm seeing a decoy totem placed on the bearer statue, which is not exactly going to do too much. They are trying to keep the statues down, but yeah, they're not going to be able to. There's going to be bears getting activated here. And
interesting strategy. I do think that they're trying to place down the decoy totem so that DeadandDoom can hit both the bear spawning statue and Izaro at the same time, so that at least they only have 2 of those bears popped up.
Yeah, they're like, all right, we can at least stop 1 here. That's manageable. There's the HP on those statues just being way too high for them to possibly be able to juggle 3 and kill Izaro at any reasonable time. It does seem like a reasonable sacrifice.
And they manage it perfectly well too. With Ventrua primarily serving as support for keeping it down those bearers.
Not too bad. 2 sets of bearers they're going to be able to manage that, as we saw just there. As long as they don't get hit by any like fireballs or something at the same time as a stack of bearers, they're going to be fine.
I think that's really the strength of it. Oh, both my streams and DeadandDoom's died at the same time. Hello? That's very suspicious.
No, everything seems to be fine on my end. Might have to hit that up with a refresh.
It does seem to be working now. That was very suspicious. Something was not right there. But that being said, Guccipradas and Hobbit still having a chance here, as they are going to be entering lab in just a second, just finishing up their gear, and they have about 5 minutes to beat the previous semis winners time. Just, tossing it out there just so everybody has an idea that despite the fact that they are doing a little bit worse than DeadandDoom and Ventrua, they're still having an incredibly respectable time.
Yeah, and I would like to, with great pleasure, announce that Stupid Fat Hobbit has managed to catch up in XP and gear. He is now level 22, which is just fine, and managed to get himself a pretty decent looking recurve bow, as well as getting a bit of other gear sorted out on his character. So an excellent job of catching up from a really nasty deficit there. But he XP'd hard, and Guccipradas did a good job of still managing the progression while that was happening. So they recovered from that, as well as could be expected, really.
Yeah, we're going to be seeing how well this goes for them. The previous fight, we did see Rain Virus doing a lot of damage with Ground Slam struggling, but Sunder, instead of the Ground Slam, should be doing a lot better here.
We are coming up on the final fight for Ventrua and DeadandDoom. 2 sets of bearers activated. Ventrua getting in there first, and DeadandDoom taking a second to fill up his flask, and now rejoining. Ventrua eats a charge right at the outset of the race, and almost takes a wind slash, maybe evading that. That was really close. He dropped very low there, but 500 HP. Keeping him safe and alive. Izaro is wind slashing the decoy totem, which is exactly what they want. The bearers are adding a little bit of extra threat. Ventrua going kind of low in there. Fireballs followed up by a wind slash. Both players successfully evade it. Very nicely done.
Yeah,
The
and you can
bearers are
really see how
popping.
much more room you have to
Ooh.
utilize the decoy totem with the blade vortex.
Big wind slash hit from on Ventrua there. He goes exceptionally low, but just manages to survive. Thankfully, he doesn't get hit by any bearers. Eats a bit of a fireball blast at the end there, but successfully done. And both players will be ascending into the grand finale. Well done, DeadandDoom and Ventrua.
55-43, a very respectable score. Yeah, we'll be seeing. The big benefit for DeadandDoom and Ventrua has been the fact that they did have access to those mobility skills, which hopefully they will not in the finals, as possibly Waggle and Garatha will try to deny them that. As for Gucci and Hobbit, they're fighting the first phase Izaro right now, and their damage is looking pretty good.
Ooh. Very low there. Very low. Oh, man.
That was
Super sketchy.
big slash. Big slash coming in.
Both players managing to get over 500 HP, well over 500 HP even for this fight, but still going very low. But that's the difference between being low and being dead. So they did a good job of gearing back up. Hobbit is going to be out of floss and does go down, eating a very unfortunately timed slash right after being stunned by the fireballs. He just did not have enough time to get out there. And being stuck on one large life flask, he realizes now is like a big problem for him. He was not able to heal up in between taking that damage, and immediately seeks to rectify the problem. In solidarity, Guccipradas leaving and getting ready for another attempt here.
Overall, that was going well. There was a little bit of panic, and they definitely have to be utilizing a decoy totem a little bit more. But honestly, it was looking pretty good. Just that unfortunate slash did get in the way. It's very interesting too that Gucci did end up being level 24, which gave them access to a vulnerability, which not only allows them to bleed Izaro for pretty large amounts of damage as he is constantly running around, but also increasing that physical damage.
Oh, the vulnerability curse. I did not pick up on that. Very interesting. Yeah, we haven't seen any of that happen yet.
Yes, most players try to go for about level 21 or 22, but from what we've seen so far, I think it's a pretty risky strategy, as you are about 12 levels under the zone, which typically will create a lot of issues. But Gucci, since he was the one primarily progressing with Hobbit, attempting to catch up to make for a safer Izaro fight, just allow themselves to get that level 24 and pick up the vulnerability, which will greatly help them out in this one.
Take two for Gucci and Hobbit. Let's see if they can have a bit more of a successful run here. Certainly Hobbit having a better life flask this time around is going to help him a lot in keeping that life pool up in between taking some hits. Staying on top of those statues, instantly deactivating and not letting Izaro have any chance to have a buff sub. Gucci still going very low though. They're going to have to stay on top of these statues. They don't want to be giving Izaro that buff here.
They're doing pretty good. Gucci getting a little bit greedy with the damage, getting hit a little bit too much with Hobbit. Getting hit for
a lot
not
too much.
Enough.
not enough to kill him, though.
In the words of Izaro,
another slash.
Hobbit.
The skeleton trying to finish him off, going very low there. Just somehow staying alive, getting another hit from Izaro. Izaro trying to finish him off with an auto attack. Almost eats a charge there, only just narrowly avoids it. Could not have been much closer. Eats another slash, and he is completely out of floss at this point. He cannot be getting hit by those fireballs right now. He does not have any more life flasks. He's trying to kill some skeletons to get some more charges. He gets a charge just in time to heal up from those fireballs. Wow.
Oh, that was
they secure the kill.
They're really trying to give us a heart attack here, but overall, a great performance. I think they knew exactly how much damage they can take and simply chose to deal a little bit more damage by receiving more damage. And as long as you don't die, everything's fine anyway, and it's a DPS boost.
Damn. Heart racing from that first one. High octane gameplay, as you said earlier. Definitely been provided to us by the players this time around. Hobbit and Guccipradas, even though they will not be moving on to the grand finale, seeking to give us quite the show here, which I do certainly appreciate. So major props to them for that.
For sure, absolutely. Well, Gucci is dropping a little bit, but they're making it through in a timely manner. Not exactly filling up their flask, something that might cost
No,
them in a
that's
short
some very
while.
unfull floss from Hobbit right there, and with what we've seen from the last encounter, he needs those floss. And this
Oh yeah.
Bearer's phase has proven to be very difficult, with a lot of just extra damage being flying around, going very low to the fireballs.
Oh, but
Gotta
you
be
gotta
careful, man.
dodge things. Don't catch the slashes. Is he doing
Hasn't he
some
heard
sort
the
of
rules?
challenge here? Yeah, I think it's against the rules to get hit by so many slashes, honestly.
And they and they are not going to be able to manage the bearers like DeadandDoom and Ventrua were, and 3 sets of bearers already active, adding a lot of extra challenge to this fight for them. A lot of extra drain on the life loss, really, as you have to top up from being hit by those. And in fact, the resist they have could even be lethal.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's the biggest thing too, that yeah, it does seem that Blade Vortex has had a pretty major impact on this race. Oh my goodness, Hubbard, you eat the charge. Come on, my man. You can do this.
It is too scary, dude.
Oh
It's
wow.
too
That
scary.
was a lot of damage, actually. They took it down pretty
Well done.
quickly.
Yeah, that
Definitely
was
a lot quicker than the first fight.
that was way faster than the first phase somehow.
Hmm.
Not having to
It
juggle
seems like
those statues,
maybe.
I guess. Just completely ignoring the mechanic paid off in terms of just DPS uptime on Izaro. But it does mean the third phase is going to be a little bit more difficult than it could have been.
Oh yeah.
But if
But
they go in
they
with
should
full
still have
flasks,
control. They will not have the same positioning problems like somebody with Blade Vortex does. Yeah, Blade Vortex does a lot of damage, but with those bears, sometimes you gotta move off of Izaro, and that might possibly put you at risk. But with Gucci and Hobbit utilizing Rain of Arrows Asunder, they can absolutely keep their distance. But maybe they're keeping a little bit too much distance and not quite seeing the movement of Izaro and getting hit by a lot of the slashes and barrages targeted at their friend's player. The big thing too is that I don't know if you guys just noticed how Gucci was attacking that pack, but there is a delay. One of these players is from California, the other one being in Singapore right now. Gucci attempting a PK against Hobbit. Doesn't quite work out. Going for the helmet strategies. But they do have a little bit of a ping difference, and it definitely shows. Gucci does have an issue when it comes to reacting to Izaro in time, and that's not necessarily his fault, but simply the 140 ping that he's playing on.
yeah, I think they were talking about yesterday. It could be upwards of 200 ping that they might have to deal with here. So definitely adds a little bit of extra challenge, but that is the nature of teaming up across
Gucci!
borders.
Gucci
Gucci
dropping low
eating
to a
large
bleed.
bleeds from the statues there. Those statues have a nasty puncture attack.
Gucci desyncing. Oh no.
Not what you want. The final trial coming out for Gucci and Hobbit. Then Doom Ventrua getting a little bit of practice in the background for the finals. They thought, might as well practice lab again.
Can
Seems
they
like a
catch
reasonable
up?
choice.
Can they run the laps?
Trying to lap them. highly unethical. I think they're just getting a bit of practice in for the finale.
Possibly so.
Farming
Probably
some
they're
currency.
hoping to run the same strategy. Gucci!
Ooh. There's a lot of barriers going off here, but like you said, with the range, they're able to pick the gaps, pick the safe spots, but the problem is Hobbit is often off-screening Izaro, which just means he can't see those slashes incoming, and that's getting him a few times here. Like, he's got to keep Izaro on screen, get a little bit more confident, get a little closer, have an easier time dodging. Oof. Just getting lucky that Izaro was not targeting him with that slash there, because he was not ready to move.
Hobbit
Ooh,
just
narrowly avoiding
counting
fireballs.
down at the sun there, but he knew exactly where that's going to end. He was absolutely prepared for that. But he is out of potions now. Can't he safely finish off this fight?
It's very close. I think he'll be able to do it. Seeing a charge from Izaro, that's what he wants. No more wind slashes, if they're lucky. And they get the kill. Well done, guys. They get the kill in fine form there at the end. Hobbit is very angry at his life flasks. 1 out of 60 lore weave. Guccipradas gets started on his next lore weave acquisition with a unique ring there at the end. And one death
He's
from
close.
Guccipradas.
Well, unfortunately, despite the great time, they will be getting knocked out of the tournament with DeadandDoom and Ventrua again narrowly coming out ahead and moving on to the final to face off against Waggle and Garatha.
I'll get us an updated brackets here in just a moment. What do you think is going to be happening in the grand finale then, mate?
Well, this is going to be especially interesting because so far DeadandDoom and Ventrua have twice beaten Guccipradas and Hobbit, who have made it out of the losers bracket. So because of the gentleman's agreement that they have had to basically have the fastest race as they can, rather than try to mess with the other team and deny them certain abilities with the bans and picks, now they're facing off against a team that won't give them the same courtesy and possibly will do everything in their force to get them out of their comfort zone. So that's going to be super interesting, and I'm excited to see it.
DeadandDoom is proclaiming we didn't have an agreement, Dance Game.
Oh yeah,
we
sure.
Not an official gentleman's agreement, but kind of like one of those unspoken things is what we're implying here. I'm not accusing any collaborations.
It was very unspoken, despite admitting to it yesterday in the chat during the initial groups.
Oh, called out. Oh, damn, the drama. Drama-fueled racing right here. Well,
oh, you never... He's saying... Okay, he's saying he's never admitted to it, so... I mean, it's better to lie than admit to something like that, I guess. And that's absolutely fine.
The truth no longer matters. The canon has been set. And that is what it will be going forwards. We're us casters playing God, getting high on our power here to be able to set the story as we see fit. Feels good though, doesn't it, Rise?
Well, it feels good right now. I don't know how good it's gonna feel later on when I get confronted in private.
Oh wow! Getting a little worried here.
Listen, if you don't hear from me tomorrow, just call Gucci and ask him where I am. He's probably gonna know.
Speaking of being confronted, Rise, should we see if the guys are willing to have a bit of an interview? Might be a bit of a salty one now, though. You've been pushing your luck.
Absolutely. I am out for an interview. I would confront them straight on.
Let us see if we can arrange that potentially.
Well, despite everything, honestly, if we were to be looking at DeadandDoom's and Ventrua's time compared to Waggle and Garatha did have that disconnect and it eventually did land on a 58-minute time, which is only about 2 minutes off of the time from this race. So, all things considered, I think the finals are going to be really close, but we will shortly be hearing from the players as to if they feel like they are threatened, or if they do feel like they've got it in the bag.
I shorthanded in Discord dead team, and there was some confusion as to whether I meant the team that was dead or DeadandDoom's team.
We will be seeing this just shortly. We do have quite a bit of time. Maybe possibly we could set some of these players up to not only display their racing abilities, but also how good are they at the Uber Elder Fight Simulator.
Simulator, okay. Like, what?
Have you not seen those?
I have. I played that. I played that in the GGG HQ when I went over to my for my last trip there. That got posted, and I was playing that in the offices, and that got quite a bit of attention. Very entertaining. I would definitely be willing to showcase some Uber Elder Simulator. If anyone wants to show their prowess. Looks like the guys are not available for the interview. I think, Rise, you've made them a little bit unhappy. with your casting, mate. So I'm gonna have to blame you for that. That is fair though. The guys want to prepare for the grand finale, keep their secrets secret, and get ready.
It's absolutely understandable. Maybe I pushed the boundaries there a little bit. If so, I apologize to the players and the organizers of this tournament. Hopefully, they're still up for a little bit of Uber Elder Simulator. Fortunately, Gucci and Hobbit did go offline already. I'm not sure.
Rise is
Will they
wondering
take
if
up the challenge?
I'm willing to see a little bit of downtime Uber Elder Simulator here. If anyone wants to do it, I'll bring their stream up and we'll commentate.
For sure. I can do it. I'm not afraid.
Are you willing to go live and do this, Rise? Willing to put yourself on the line here?
I don't think I've ever finished a run.
All right. Let's do it then, man. Let's do it. Shall
Yeah,
I
we
bring
can
your
do it.
stream up? All right, let's do it. A little bit of downtime entertainment here.
Now all the pressure is here. Okay.
Pressure is on, man.
I'm doing it. Give me just a second to get everything nice and set up. As unfortunately, Chrome does not cooperate with the simulator for me, so I gotta get that Firefox going. Whew. This is Ziggy. I'm sweating.
You should be sweating. This is intense.
I gotta sit up straight, get everything nice and ready, set everything up. We do have a Uber Elder Simulator run. I like how you can just absolutely watch the regular thing, but then no, we go for the simulator instead. I thought we were going to have a simulator off, but no
full-way simulator off. Probably a little bit difficult to manage at such short notice. Ooh. So you're going to be providing you're basically like the cheer squad that comes out in between games or something like that before the game to keep the crowd from getting too riled up. Oh, here we go. We have some Uber Elder Simulator action here. I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna be able to get this super polished, but here we go. Let's somewhat full screen this.
All right, I'm ready. I'm going in. Oh wait, how do you play PoE? Okay, this is shield charge. How do I turn it on? All right, I got it under control. I know what I'm doing. Easy.
Now, remember, Rise, the rule of the game is the same as regular Path of Exile. The rule is do not get hit.
Okay. I'm getting hit a little bit here, I'll be honest.
Well, you are a RF jug here, so you can get hit a little bit. Dodges the slam. Well done.
Easy.
A very nice start here.
Woo!
Getting very good uptime on his
Scorching
Little bit
of spoiler there.
Ooh, eats the slam there, though. Ooh, man. Yeah, so there's going to be, of course, a little bit of a delay. I hope you're using that shorter delay feature on Twitch TV now, Rise.
Do believe so, but so far it's been going pretty okay.
Are you going to be able to manage the vortexes? That is the question. You're going to have to keep that up throughout the fight here. The DPS uptime has been very good, Rise. I'm impressed.
I've been pretty lucky, actually, I think.
You've been practicing your Uber Elder simulation kills. Eats a massive beam there and stacks up another vortex. You're limiting your play space a little bit here, Rise.
It is all calculated. As long as I keep this up. Fortunately, there was no animation there. Ooh, I think Uber Elder's cheating.
Oh, you find just a little tiny gap to hide in there from the balls, man. Eating a little bit of damage there. You've got one of the. I think it's the Shaper backed into a corner there.
I think we're fine. So far.
I have to say, like, when I played this, I was very impressed at how much it feels like PoE. Like, it feels so similar to actually playing PoE. Like, they got the feeling of everything down quite a bit. Also, the one flask jug action seems about right.
Yeah, and the 0 attack speed jug, that also feels very appropriate.
You're saying the shield charge is not fast enough. Maybe you just need to get a little bit better at it. Getting a little bit beamed there. I feel like you're playing this too safe, Rise. I want to see some more DPS uptime, man. You started out strong, but this is looking kind of weak at this point.
Excuse me?
Like, where's this sub 3-minute Uber Oldar kill? Like, I want to see some nice
I'm
fast
lagging.
Oldar killing. Whoa! Nice big beam there, stacking up 3 vortexes right on top of each other. I'm impressed. That's pretty impressive, man. Yeah, this is Path of Exile 2.0. This is the
My hands are shaking.
hands are shaking. Spaghetti all over the shop.
This is a lot of pressure here.
It is intense, high-octane gameplay, as we're talking about here.
So far.
Not too bad, but I'm noticing Elder's getting away from you that bit there. Oh, not getting caught in the slow. Nicely done.
There was a slow? I didn't even notice it.
Elder
Oh,
was
wow.
not very
This
good
is...
with his teleport. You doing... The vortexes are really starting to build up now, though, man. You're starting to limit your play space a little bit. I noticed that the Oldar is standing out of RF range.
We're fine. Overall, maybe we're fine.
It is a long-term fight, and it comes down to that vortex management, I think, here. I'm hearing some nervous sounds there. Getting caught in the Elder Slow slightly there, but managing to get out. How are you going with that ad management? You can't forget about the squiddies. I'm noticing that squids are pooping out over there a little bit.
As long as they're pooping in the pools, we're fine.
That's not something you want to hear at a kid's birthday party.
You might have a point.
That's some long-range balls right there. You're doing a good job weaving in back and forth in between them, dodging the slam.
Yeah.
I feel accidentally. I don't think that was anticipated.
I'm
That was an
absolutely
accidental
used to
dodge.
managing long-range balls. So this is second nature for me.
I think at any range, you seem to be well equipped.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice little stutter stepping back and forth there. Also noticing getting a bit of Scorching Ray uptime on both the bosses. Very nice. We're seeing a very low Oldar right here. I think Rozky T might actually be able to prove his prowess here. I was not anticipating this. I was expecting defeat. But,
Whoa,
narrowly
excuse
dodges
me?
the slam. I was expecting... I mean, what can I say? You're impressing me here. You're eschewing all... Oh, big slam hit, though, but unfortunately, RF Jug is just too strong. And with that cute little shield, he manages to keep himself just alive. What is this? 8.8k HP. Too much HP.
Listen, now I'm like really shaking. This is not good.
There's a lot of stuff everywhere. I'm seeing lots of poop, not just in the pools, all over the place as well. And it looks like he did it. He did it! Look at those Scrolls of Wisdom, Rose QT. Congratulations, mate. The Scrolls of Wisdom. I see you grabbing the scrolls right there. Well done. Well done, mate. It's definitely worthy of some easy claps. Definitely, there's nothing left here. Click the portal to restart.
I think it's your turn now, Ziggy.
I'm afraid to say that there's not going to be any time for that, because now is the time for a little bit of an intermission.
Oh, okay. I understand the strategical choice of backing out. Absolutely.
It's not because I'm afraid or because I don't think I can do it as well as you can, but it's purely because as host, I have a lot of organization to do. Yeah,
I understand.
Important behind the scenes work to be done. Look at things. Those things.
Of course, absolutely.
All jokes aside, we are going to be taking a couple minutes intermission. Thank you, Rozky T, for the between race entertainment right there. That was high quality. We'll catch you guys back here in a few minutes as we ramp up to the next race. See you guys soon.
Thanks again, guys. See you guys soon.